everybody. I am finally back with a new sermon. Very excited about this sermon. The name of it is going to be called Surprises. Surprises. And this is going to be our Easter / Resurrection Day sermon for this year, 2020. Surprises. And some of you may be thinking, well, you've posted this late. Yes, it has been posted late on purpose because there are many of you that probably came to the website expecting a sermon, especially since I haven't been posting anything for a while, and especially since I haven't been on social media for a while. You've probably been thinking, well, if there was ever a perfect time for her to surprise us, it might be Easter. And you came to the website and you probably found no video or audio sermon. And that's exactly what I wanted you to come across. That's what I wanted you to witness, was silence. I wanted you to come there and find nothing, just find silence. I wanted you to tune in to no audio at all. I wanted you to tune in to no frequency tunes at all. I wanted you to experience silence. No, hey, I'm back. No, hey, how y'all doing? Here I am. No, nothing. And that may sound a little mean, that may sound a little harsh, but there's a purpose behind it. I was actually going to try to get the sermon posted early, but when I thought about it, I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a bigger impact with what I have to say in this sermon by letting people come onto the site thinking surely I'd have something posted on Easter Day, and then they find nothing, just silence. No, nothing to see, nothing to hear, no video or audio, nothing, just silence. Because that's what part of this sermon is about. Yes, it's the Easter sermon, but this has to do with you and you being quiet. You not saying things when people expect you to say them. You not always having reactions to things when people think you should have them, because your silence is going to be the key in this season. And I want to use some things that we see play out with Jesus here in scriptures to show you that, to show you the importance of not having much going on, at least not having much for others to see going on right now in this season, because really soon a lot of things will be happening for you. It's just that it's a timing thing. It's a timing thing for when these things can be revealed to others. But for right now, it's a good time to be silent. And what I mean by that is it's a good time to be private. I don't mean you literally have to walk around acting like you're mute, acting like you're deaf, and you can't hear people and you can't speak and say anything. What I mean is it's time, if you haven't already started, to simply shut some things down and to just let some connections die down and just keep some things to yourself. Not saying that you necessarily are one to talk too much, but maybe rather there are some things that people don't need to know. In other words, this is a great time to just have a good time, just being mysterious to other people, leaving things to the mystery of others, letting people guess and wonder things. And they may be offended, but it is what it is. Now, for some of you, like I said, I'm showing you something right now, but for a lot of you who this sermon is for, really, you already knew before coming to this sermon that this is your theme right now, a theme of being private, a theme of being quiet, a theme of being secretive about things. Starting this month, this may have been a theme for all of the month of April so far for you. So really, this sermon is just confirmation for you. It's confirmation for what you already know, but maybe you need the confirmation, and maybe the reason you need this confirmation is because maybe some folks got you feeling some kind of way. In other words, maybe some people right now are a little bit butthurt because you're not telling them everything. maybe because y'all have been friends for so long, or maybe because they're a family member, or maybe, this, that, and the other is somebody from the workplace. Maybe they're so used to knowing what's going on with you, every little last detail, and now you're being kind of quiet, and now they don't know quite how to deal with it. They're taking it personal, and they think that you've got something against them, and that maybe you're trying to unfriend them. In reality, the way we do people on social media, they think that maybe you're giving them the cold shoulder or the side eye, when in reality, you're just practicing being quiet. You're practicing being private, and there are people that just don't know how to deal with it. See, some people, you're their entertainment. Some people, they're trying to live through you vicariously, and when they don't know all of what's going on with you, it makes it hard for them to live through you. It makes it hard for them to know all of your business. And so some people are struggling with this loss of entertainment, if that's how you want to put it, for lack of better words, or maybe those really are the better words to use for this situation. And so even though some folks may be feeling some type of way, even though they may think you're acting funny or acting brand new, as some people would like to put it, that's not what it is at all. You just know. You know something in you is saying, no, this is the time for me to not say too much. And rightfully so. So don't feel bad if someone else is trying to make you feel bad because they feel bad because they don't know everything. Just chill out. They'll have to get over it. You're not being mean. You're not in the wrong. Keep doing what you know you're supposed to be doing, which is just chilling out and remaining private. So I'm going to be in Mark chapter 9 first, then Luke chapter 1, then Matthew chapter 27. So if you want to go ahead and head to scriptures, go ahead and head there. I'm about to hop into it. But real quick, let me share with you what's been going on with me, because like I've said, I've been kind of quiet myself here lately. So what's been going on with me is this. I think the last sermon that I did was maybe the 9th of February, and I had posted it to my Facebook, and it was the last thing that I had posted for that month. And so for all the rest of February, I was very quiet. Didn't post anything. Now I might log on and check notifications and comment on a few things that were already said by other people, but I didn't post anything myself. I didn't put anything on my timeline. Then the next month, March, I didn't post anything for that whole entire month until the very last day of that month. I had posted something because I was, talking about how my birthday was going to be coming up very soon in April. And, I was talking about an idea that I'd had for something that I wanted to do for my birthday, and was trying to see if I could get some people together to work this thing out. But anyway, I had said that, but other than that, I hadn't said anything for all the rest of the month. Well, after putting up that post, next thing you know, hours go by, because I was staying up that night. Hours go by. At 5:55 a.m., which was not on purpose, but it just so happened to be at 5:55 a.m., April 1st, I temporarily deleted my Facebook account. So I got completely off of social media until I felt like the time was right for me to just get back on there. Because I tried just being quiet a lot, but I felt like it just wasn't enough for me, for my situation. So I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to delete Facebook for a while and really take privacy to a whole other level. Because in today's society, we feel like it's not official until it's Facebook official. Y'all probably have heard that before. If two people get into a relationship with each other, there's always somebody that says, well, when are y'all going to put it on Facebook? Because it's not official until it's Facebook official, right? I just heard somebody say that like last week, matter of fact. But anyway, they were talking about that at my job. They were like, well, it ain't official till it's Facebook official, But yeah, I was like, nope, I'm going to chill out. So for anyone who has had me on social media or you just keep up with me, if you've been wondering where I've been, that's where I've been. Not on Facebook. So that's where I haven't been anyway. So that's what's going on. I'm alive. I'm still here. I'm good. I promise I'm good. But I'm trying out some new stuff right now. Just trying this out. Now, whoever this sermon is for, you've been going down some similar routes, and I'm not saying you've had to delete your social media, or maybe you have, but maybe for you it hasn't been deleting, it's just simply being quiet more on social media, not saying as much stuff, not giving away too much information. Maybe it's just been when you hang out with people. Maybe when you hang out, you like to talk a lot, and so you share a lot about what's on your heart and what's on your mind, and maybe you've been quiet about some things, or maybe you're starting to realize that it is time for you to be quiet about some things with people in person, whether it be friendships or in the workplace, and especially in the workplace. I really feel like I should say this. There are some in the workplace right now where at your workplace it's really going to be beneficial to you right now to really not share so much with your coworkers, because honestly, some of those coworkers may be your friends, but some of your coworkers probably should just be your coworkers. Not saying you shouldn't be cool with them, not saying you can't be nice. I'm just saying that sometimes at some jobs, some of the people you work with, no matter how nice they are, they're really not your friend. They're just taking advantage of the fact that you have to be around them for quite a bit because y'all work together, to try to be friendly, to be nosy. But really, some of them do not care about you. They just want to know stuff so that when you walk out of that room, they can laugh about you and joke about you with the people that are still left in the room, with the coworkers that are still in that area. Or they go and tell it to other people outside of the workplace. So you got genuine folks, but you got folks who are simply taking advantage of the fact that y'all are having to be close knitted in similar spots and spaces for so many hours a day, most of the days of the week. So again, privacy is key. And if it's not in your regular friendships or circles, if it's not in the workplace, if it's not on social media, maybe it's just when you're out in public places. And what I mean is this, and I really feel like I should say this as I was getting ready for this sermon. There's something about eating with people, whether it be in the home, in somebody's home, or at a restaurant, or wherever. But there's something about sitting at a table and eating with people. There is something very covenant-ish about it. Let me just say this. When we eat, a lot of times when we want to hang out with people, one of our favorite things to do, especially here in America, is to go out and eat with people, or invite people to come and eat with you, or to go to someone else's place and eat with them. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with hanging out and having a good time over some food and fellowshipping and hanging and blah, blah, blah. And it's a great way to bond, but like I said, we love to do this over food, and it makes sense because food, and especially more certain types of foods than others, comfort foods, for example, certain foods just make us feel so much better. We feel better, as in getting full, but also certain foods really just make our flesh feel so good and happy and merry, right? And what happens is, what the enemy knows is, a lot of times when we're eating, and because we feel so good, a lot of times we're more likely to open up with our merry little hearts and expose ourselves. In other words, tell what's going on in us. The more we put in our mouths to feed our flesh, the more other things will start to come out of our mouth that's in our heart, basically. I'll just put it that way. And so we become more honest. We open up more. And especially when people start drinking alcohol, they really start getting honest about some stuff that they should probably keep to themselves. So then when they're eating and getting drunk, you know what I mean? And they got, the TVs going, and, all this stuff that's keeping your mind, you know what I mean, keeping you distracted and entertained, and you're feeling all good, and the game's going, and you're drinking and you're eating, and the music's going, and there's so much to just get your flesh amped up. It's a good time to just get you relaxed and just get you talking, because you'll talk. And so the enemy will take advantage of this, and sometimes he'll use people to use moments like that to talk to you more and question you more, because they know they're going to get more out of you in a situation like that. Because your guard is down and you're comfortable and your flesh is having a good old time, and you're not thinking enough as you normally would to stop yourself from saying too much in certain situations. So what I'm saying is, be careful who you eat with. Be careful who you commune with, who you dine with, who you fellowship with in this season. Some people are not paying for your food for you because they care. I'm going to put it like that. We're going to move on. So just be careful in this time. A time of privacy. And the more you have that, the more surprises are going to be coming your way. There are certain things that the Lord wants to do and surprise you with, but if you're willing to say too much too fast, there are people that would try to ruin what God wants to do. They may try to interfere. They may try to shut it down. And I'm not saying they can stop what God wants to do, but sometimes they can interfere and slow things down, slow you down from getting to point A to point B. Remain private. It will cause you to avoid a lot of unnecessary spiritual warfare. Warfare comes and goes, because the enemy is always a busybody, going to and fro, seeking who he may devour, trying to kill, steal, and destroy. But there are some things that we go through that's actually unnecessary, things that we don't have to endure, storms that we actually don't have to go through, that we bring upon ourselves unintentionally because we said too much, or we said something too soon, or both. We said too much too soon, and we really hurt ourselves. So the prizes, the surprises that God has for you, it's just really a play on words. Surprises. The surprises that the Lord has for you, they come during a time of secrecy. They're secret prizes. Secret prizes. Mark chapter 9. It says this, starting at verse 2. And after 6 days, Jesus taketh with him Peter and James and John, and leadeth them up into a high mountain apart by themselves, and he was transfigured before them. And his raiment became shining, exceeding white as snow, so as no fuller on earth can white them. And there appeared unto them Elias with Moses, and they were talking with Jesus. And Peter answered and said to Jesus, Master, it is good for us to be here. Let us make 3 tabernacles, one for thee, and one for Moses, and one for Elias. For he wist not what to say, for they were sore afraid. And there was a cloud that overshadowed them, and a voice came out of the cloud, saying, This is my beloved Son, hear him. So there's this special moment where Jesus separates himself from so many people, because this is during the time where he's performing a lot of miracles, but he would have moments where he would separate himself from the crowds to go and pray and do, whatever he needed to do alone. But in this particular moment, he separates himself into a high mountain, but it says that he took Peter, James, and John with him. He didn't take all the disciples, just a few. So that right there says something. These 3 are invited to go with Jesus up high in a separate place. So there must be almost like some type of trust that the Lord can have in these three specific ones, that he will allow them to be alone with him, even with other disciples not there. So this should be like a sign to them, to these three, that something epic must be about to happen. There must be some special reason why this is happening. What is about to happen? He takes them up. All of a sudden, Jesus, his clothing is just this bright white that none of our bleach today can make that white. Just beautiful white. He's shining, he's glowing. There's just been this change about his appearance to where he's just as bright as the sun. It's just supernatural. It's amazing. It's blowing their minds. And then all of a sudden, Elijah, who had been taken up, and Moses, who had died, there they are. They're there with Jesus. They're talking with him. It's wild. It's crazy. Who would expect to see this? Who would expect to have Jesus say, hey, come with me to this mountain. Let's separate ourselves. Let's go up here. And they go up there, and all of a sudden Jesus transforms, and he's glowing and he's shining, and you haven't seen this before. And then you have the prophet Elijah and the mighty man of God Moses from Exodus, and it's like, what? It would just blow your mind to really see this live and in person. This is a big deal. It's a surprising moment that no one would have seen coming. And Peter right away starts talking to Jesus. Let us make these tabernacles. Let us make these tents for y'all. Now he's offering to do something, and he means well, but look at what happened. It said a cloud overshadowed them, and the voice of the Lord spoke and said, this is my beloved son, hear him, listen to him. In other words, it's like the Lord nicely saying, look, I know you mean well, and I know you're trying to do something nice here, but this ain't the time to start talking about stuff. Be quiet and listen. Look, listen, pay attention to what's going on in this moment. Focus. And that's what the Lord is saying to you right now. He's trying to take you somewhere. He's wanting to surprise you with some stuff that would blow other people's minds if they knew. But he's needing you. As much as you may want to share everything that he might be about to show you and tell you, there may be some things that you don't need to talk about. As a matter of fact, there may be some things that in that moment you don't need to open your mouth. You should just pay attention and not even speak unless spoken to. I'm just telling you. He says, hear him. Verse 8. And suddenly, when they had looked around about, they saw no man any more, save Jesus only with themselves. And as they came down from the mountain, he charged them that they should tell no man what things they had seen, till the Son of Man was risen from the dead. He charged them, keep this to yourselves. In verse 10, and they kept that saying with themselves, questioning one with another what the rising from the dead should mean. So they didn't tell other people, but check this out. They did not have the mindset of, well, when we get down from this mountain and Jesus ain't around, let's tell people what happened and get their opinion on it, or ask them what they think, or see what someone else's interpretation was of what we experienced. No, it said they spoke about it amongst themselves. They kept it between themselves. In other words, if someone else was not up there seeing what they saw, they weren't told anything about it. They spoke of it amongst themselves. They questioned it amongst themselves, amongst one another that was there to see what happened. I'm just trying to get this in you right now. All right. Next is Luke chapter 1. Starting at verse 5. It says, there was in the days of Herod the king of Judea a certain priest named Zacharias of the course of Abiah, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. And they were both righteous before God, walking in all the commandments and the ordinances of the Lord blameless. And they had no child, because that Elizabeth was barren, and they both were now well stricken in years. So we see this couple. Now, keep this in mind, because the story I just read to you was just about some individuals. And you may be an individual that the Lord is about to bless, but I want you to look at this couple right now, because this sermon also is going to apply to some couples. You see, for some of you, your surprise, it may not necessarily be a money thing or a financial thing. It could be, a certain type of job that you never applied for that God may want to present you with. The surprise could be just, a vacation that you didn't have planned, maybe a place that you might get to go that you always wanted to go that you never thought you'd be able to afford to go. Maybe the surprise is simply something is learning a lot of things that you didn't know in the past that would have helped you, but now some things are going to be revealed supernaturally, and now you're going to be able to excel further and faster in life now that you know the things that you now know. Maybe the Lord has a new circle of friends for you, kind of like how Jesus brought together the disciples. Maybe you're going to have real friends now that maybe in the future you can actually share some stuff with without them going and telling other folks and ruining things for you themselves. Because maybe it wasn't that you talked a lot, maybe your circle talked too much. Uh-oh. Or maybe it's that he has a spouse for you. Maybe that's the surprise. Or maybe he wants to rekindle something. You never know, there's a surprise. But also, like I said, this message is also for some couples, people that are already together. Maybe he has something in store for you. For this couple, the issue was that they, wanted to have a child, but Elizabeth was barren and couldn't have a child, But whatever it is that maybe you've been believing God for, and it could be something you never expected, something you've never thought to pray for, but God knows it would be good for you, so he'll surprise you with some things. He'll surprise you with some knowledge. He'll surprise you with wisdom of how to obtain certain things and certain resources and certain opportunities. He'll give you what you need when you need it, and even when you don't expect it, as long as you are continuing to abide in him and seek him and follow him. But also during this time, you are also being private when necessary. So we see this couple here, Elizabeth, Zacharias. They're good people, but she's just barren. She hasn't been able to bear children. Verse 8, it says, and it came to pass that while he executed the priest's office before God in the order of his course, according to the custom of the priest's office, his lot was to burn incense when he went into the temple of the Lord. And the whole multitude of the people were praying without at the time of incense. And there appeared unto him an angel of the Lord standing on the right side of the altar of incense. And when Zacharias saw him, he was troubled, and fear fell upon him. When the angel said unto him, fear not, Zacharias, for thy prayer is heard. So Zacharias is having an encounter with an angel. He was not expecting this. It surprised him. It troubled him. Fear fell upon him. He didn't know what to think. It caught him off guard. God surprised him when he least expected it. And not only is he surprised with an angel, he says, your prayer has been heard. The desires of your heart have been heard. Let's continue. It says, and thy wife Elizabeth shall bear thee a son, and thou shalt call his name John. So he's saying the Lord has heard your prayer. You will have a son. Your wife will no longer be barren. She will have this child. She will conceive. Verse 14. And thou shalt have joy and gladness, and many shall rejoice at his birth. For he shall be great in the sight of the Lord, and shall drink neither wine nor strong drink, and he shall be filled with the Holy Ghost, even from his mother's womb. And many of the children of Israel shall he turn to the Lord their God, and he shall go before him in the spirit and power of Elias, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready a people prepared for the Lord. And Zechariah said unto the angel, Whereby shall I know this? For I am an old man, and my wife well stricken in years. And the angel answering said unto him, I am Gabriel, that stand in the presence of God, and am sent to speak unto thee, and to show thee these glad tidings. And behold, thou shalt be dumb and not able to speak, until the day that these things shall be performed, because thou believest not my words, which shall be fulfilled in their season. So the angel is talking to Zacharias. He's telling him about the son that him and Elizabeth are going to have. He's saying his name's going to be John. He's bragging. He's talking about all these good things. He's saying, listen, don't let him have wine and strong drink. Just raise him up right. And I'm telling you, he's going to be used mightily by the Lord. And da 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 da. I mean, he's going on and on about how awesome John is going to be, and how God is going to be glorified through him. And all Zacharias knows to say is, well, how do I know? How do I know that these things are actually going to happen? And the angel, who turns out to be the angel Gabriel, he's like, I'm the angel Gabriel. He's like, why am I going to lie? Do you not know who I am? You don't know who I am. Let me introduce myself. My name is Gabriel, the angel Gabriel, and I'm the one who stands in the presence of God, and you're questioning my validity right now. You're questioning whether or not what I'm telling you is going to happen is going to happen. I'll tell you what, it's going to happen. It's still going to happen, but now you can't speak. You're not going to be able to speak until the time is right, until the season is right. Now, it sounds kind of jacked up that he's telling him that he's not going to be able to speak for quite some time. But really, it worked in his advantage in the long run. I'm not saying that God is going to, force you to not be able to talk, that he's going to make you mute or make you dumb so you can't talk. But I'm using the scripture to get you to see something. That sometimes you just have to not say anything. So him saying what he said, and Gabriel being like, you know what, I'm gonna not even let you talk. Just be quiet. In fact, you know what, I don't want you to be quiet. I'm gonna make you dumb so you can't talk, even if you wanted to. How about those apples? But it ended up being a good thing. God can take anything and turn it around for your good. And so it ended up being used for his good, because he couldn't say too much too soon. So he tells them that. They have this conversation. Verse 21. It says, And the people waited for Zacharias, and marveled that he tarried so long in the temple. So you got people on the outside waiting for him to come out, and they're thinking, well, what's taking him so long in there? Verse 22, And he came out, and he could not speak unto them. And they perceived that he had seen a vision in the temple, for he beckoned unto them and remained speechless. So he tried, he tried to communicate with these people, but he just could not speak no matter how hard he tried. And these people, they just came to the conclusion that something supernatural had to have happened. He had to have had a vision of something or something. Something had to go down, because he can't speak. And they can tell he's not just joking, or it's not some trick. He really just can't talk. Verse 23, And it came to pass that as soon as the days of his ministration were accomplished, he departed to his own house. And after those days, his wife Elizabeth conceived and hid herself 5 months, saying, Thus hath the Lord dealt with me in the days wherein he looked on me to take away my reproach among men. So we see what happens to Zacharias, and then we see with his wife Elizabeth. Sure enough, she gets pregnant. She conceives, and she decides to keep herself hid for the next 5 months. And she's excited because she knows that this is of the Lord's doing. Her pregnancy is of the Lord's doing. Sometimes, other than being quiet, it's good to be hid sometimes. It's just good to just be hidden. It's good sometimes, not saying you can't go out and have fun and do this and that, but sometimes it's good to just sit down somewhere. Sometimes it's good to not be a busybody. I'm just saying. Sometimes it's good to be where not everybody sees you. What was that TV show? It had that theme song that was like, where everybody knows your name. Do 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 do. I don't know all the words. I just know that tune. Do 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 do. Everybody knows your name. Do 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 do. Y'all know that? Do 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 do. Right. What? That was an old TV show. Y'all know that TV show. It's like an old show, but they still play episodes of it. But that theme song, everybody knows your name, right? Sometimes you don't always have to be at a place where everybody knows your name. You ain't always gotta be where everybody knows your name all the time. It's okay. It's okay to be alone sometimes, and it's okay to go somewhere where nobody knows your name. What fun way to be private than to say, I kind of want to go out. Let me go over here. I'm from here and they know me there, but let me go way over here where nobody knows me. I can just sit down, watch a movie, go home, and mind my business without interruptions, without somebody coming up and, you know what I mean? Let's take this picture. And we got all pictures of you everywhere all over the internet when really you were trying to stay hidden. Just chill out, remain hidden. Sometimes it's good to do that. Sometimes it's good to do that. Not everybody will like it all the time. When people grow up in small town USA and they're there for so many years and then they move somewhere else, people they don't know what to do. And sometimes they expect you to move to a big city, but then when you move to another small town or an even smaller town, they look at you like you're crazy. They look at you like, why did you go there? What's there? This is better than that. Why'd you leave us then if you didn't go somewhere where there's more people and it's not popping? That place ain't popping. We start using all these slang words. That place ain't popping. That place ain't the bomb. That place ain't dropping it like it's hot. That place, you know what I mean? Now all of a sudden, now everybody's hood now. Everybody's hood talking to you now. That place ain't popping. That place ain't jumping. That place ain't hopping, skipping, right? Now all of a sudden that's how people are when they get mad at you. They're hood now. First they were Southern Belles. Now everybody's come on. Everybody's from a rap video. Man, why you down there now, huh? You just leaving us hanging. So you brand new now, huh? You're pretty brand new. You ain't ever talked to me like this before ever. You ain't talked to me like this before in your whole life. Now all of a sudden you're offended, But anyway, all right. Moving on. Last place I'm going to take you to, and I'll be done. This will be Matthew chapter 27. Matthew 27. We will start at 57. So this is right after the crucifixion of Jesus. It says this, when the even was come, there came a rich man from Arimathea named Joseph, who also himself was Jesus' disciple. He went to Pilate and begged the body of Jesus. Then Pilate commanded the body to be delivered. And when Joseph had taken the body, he wrapped it in a clean linen cloth and laid it in his own new tomb, which he had hewn out in the rock. And he rolled a great stone to the door of the sepulchre and departed. And there was Mary Magdalene and the other Mary sitting over against the sepulchre. Now the next day that followed, the day of the preparation, the chief priests and Pharisees came together unto Pilate, saying, Sir, we remember that the deceiver said, while he was yet alive, after 3 days I will rise again. So they have crucified Jesus on the cross. He's been taken down. He's been buried. And they say, Sir, talking to Pilate, Sir, this deceiver, that's what they called Jesus, because that's what they wanted to do, was make him out to be a liar and not be the Son of God and not really be the King of the Jews, and right? They said, Sir, remember what this deceiver said. He said that he would rise again. After 3 days, I will rise again. So the job had been done. He had been crucified, but they wanted to make sure that the job was all the way done. In other words, the big part was done, but the little nail in the coffin, so to speak, the nail in the tomb, so to speak, needed to be making sure he did not get out of the tomb, because then the people could think twice and say, well, maybe he was the Son of God. He was right. He wasn't a liar. He told the truth. He really did rise again. They didn't want that to happen. So they wanted to make sure that he didn't rise, that the tomb isn't open. They don't want any evidence of him being a truth teller. All they wanted was for him to be perceived as a liar and a deceiver. So they had a mindset, but it wasn't so much about their mindset of him. They were concerned about the mindsets of the general public, because they were the type of people, they were made or broken. You know how we say, oh, well, they can make or break you. They allowed themselves to be made or broken by the opinions of the masses. So they wanted other people to be made or broken by the opinions of the masses, because that's the bondage they put themselves under. So they wanted to put others through the same bondage. That's all they knew. That's how they were. That's how they operated. So they wanted people to continue to view Jesus as the deceiver and make themselves be the one to be glorified in all this. They were going to make sure that he did not come out of that tomb, that the tomb wasn't open. So it says this, verse 64. Command therefore that the sepulchre be made sure until the 3rd day, lest his disciples come by night and steal him away, and say unto the people, he is risen from the dead. So the last error shall be worse than the first. Pilate said unto them, ye have a watch, go your way, make it as sure as you can. So they went and made the sepulchre sure, sealing the stone and setting a watch. Going over to the next chapter 28, starting at the beginning, it says, in the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the 1st day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre. And behold, there was a great earthquake, for the angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came and rolled back the stone from the door and sat upon it. His countenance was like lightning, and his raiment white as snow. So in one story, we see Jesus transfigured. His raiment is this bright white, the whitest of whites. He's glowing, he's shining, right? Shine bright like a diamond. He had it. Then in the story I read after that, in Luke, we had an angel appear and speak to Zacharias, right? Well, now, in this story, we've got both together. We've got an angel who's bright and shining and got the white raiment and shining and everything. So we keep seeing this theme in this sermon. Okay, I want you to realize the patterns. I'm big on patterns and catching patterns. I hope you caught that pattern. I'm trying to get something into you. I'm dropping something into your spirit right now. You'll need this later if this is for you. Verse 4. And for fear of him, the keepers did shake and became as dead men. And the angel answered and said unto the women, Fear not ye, for I know that ye seek Jesus, which was crucified. He is not here, for he is risen. As he said, Come, see the place where the Lord lay. And go quickly and tell his disciples that he is risen from the dead. And behold, he goeth before you into Galilee. There shall ye see him. Lo, I have told you. So the angel tells them something. He tells them, yes, Jesus has risen. He's not here. What you need to do right now is go and tell something. Go and tell what you've seen today. And what does he say? He says, I have told you. In other words, look, believe me, right? Because in the other story, somebody else saw an angel and they're like, well, how do I know what you're saying is reality? He told them the reality of Jesus, and he said, look, listen to me. Before you even say anything, I'm not even fixing to give you time to question me. I'm not going to give you time to say, well, I don't know, and how do I know you're really an angel? How do I really know you're from God? He's like, look, listen to what I'm telling you. Believe me. Go and do what I said. Just believe it. Just don't ask 11 questions. Do it. Go. Bye. See ya. He didn't even give him an opportunity to mess it up. He was just like, go. So it says this, and they departed quickly from the sepulchre with fear and great joy, and did running to bring his disciples word. So in other words, they obeyed. They believed and obeyed the angel. They believed and obeyed the angel. And I wonder what the angel would have told Zacharias if he had believed him. I wonder if the angel would have went on to say, well, you can go and tell some things to your wife or this person or this person. But other than these people, don't tell anybody else that you're fixing to have this kid. Don't tell anybody else any of what you've seen. But because his first response is, well, I don't know if I can believe this. How do I know? The angel's just like, look, you ain't going to be able to say nothing to nobody anyway. Don't say nothing. Be dumb. And now he can't speak, right? For so long, for so many months. So, again, whatever the Lord reveals to you, as crazy as it may sound, as crazy as it may seem, the best thing I can tell you other than remaining private and doing, what you need to do, whatever he tells you, believe him. Believe him. Believe him. Do not let your faith waver. Don't question the Lord and be like, well, I don't know. This sounds impossible. I don't believe this can happen. Hey, you better believe it. Because, man, it sometimes you might still get something, but you might have to pay extra prices along the way for not believing in the beginning. So just go ahead and believe what it is that the Lord says to you, or what the Lord does for you. Just roll with it. Roll with the punches. Go along with it. So he did what was said. So my emphasis in this sermon, the reason why this is different from many other Resurrection Day or Easter Day sermons, is because we get wrapped up in him being crucified and him rising again on that third day. But the emphasis is never really on what took place in the tomb. In other words, we don't see much of what takes place in the middle, in that moment of Jesus being in the tomb. We know what happened before and we know what happened afterwards, but we don't know what happened a whole lot, or at least the Gospels. I'll say that the Gospels don't say a whole lot. Matter of fact, if you read this story in Mark, Luke, and John, the other Gospels, it's similar to where they let you know he was crucified and put in the tomb. And then when you head over to its next chapter, you read about Mary and Martha going to the tomb on the first day of the week. But there's not much said about what went on in that tomb in that waiting period. And you may say, well, there probably wasn't much to talk about. Well, we never know what could have happened. You never know what could have went on, what the Lord could have been doing. I don't know. I don't know what that moment was like when he rose. Did he raise up and put his feet on the floor and stand up? Was he miraculously lifted up? Did he rip the grave clothes off? Did he, was it like in the cartoons when the mummy is magically unraveled like toilet paper coming off somebody? Was he unraveled? Or you know what I mean? I know it's silly, but my point is there's not much said about anything in the middle, and it makes sense because it was a time in which there was silence. There was not much to say. That's the point. There wasn't much to say. It kind of skips, as you see, from him being in the tomb and them saying, let's make sure it stays shut, to what happened when Mary and Martha went to the tomb and it's revealed that he had risen. So over this 3-day stretch, what happened there in the middle during that waiting period, from the time he was crucified to the time he rose, not much is really said. Because it was a time of silence, a time of waiting to see what was about to happen. It was a time of silence and a time of waiting to see what was about to happen. You see, they had crucified him, but the people that made sure he was crucified wanted to make sure he had stayed in there at least the full 3 days, right? Come on. So after those 3 days, if nothing had happened, they could be calm. They could relax. They could be like, all right, it's good. It's over. Nobody's waiting to see if he's going to rise up. He's going to be forever known as a liar and a deceiver. We're good. We're going to come out good on this. So it was just a waiting period to make sure nothing was going to go down. But something did go down because Jesus rose up. Come on. So that's what I need you to see. You are in a moment where you're really just waiting. You're quietly waiting to see what's about to happen. But there are other folks who, because they can't see you, get it? Jesus being in the tomb and the stone being sealed shut real tight. They can't, because you're private, because you're hidden, because you're in a secret place, they can't really connect with you like they used to. So they're nervously on the sidelines waiting to see. So you're waiting to see what God's going to do. And you got people waiting to see what you're going to do because they don't have that access to you anymore. So as time ticks on, they're waiting. They're waiting to see what's up. And it's key that you do your time in the tomb, so to speak, and have your private time and come out when it's time for you to come out and do what it is that God needs you to do when it's time, because at this rate, no one will be able to stop what it is that God is trying to do in your life in this hour and in this season. It's the same concept as what I just read to you. It's a short time, but it feels like it's taking a while. That 3-day stretch, so to speak, that we saw there, I don't know how long it's going to take for you, but it's really not very long. It feels like a long wait, but I'm telling you, listen, it ain't going to be very much longer. It just feels real long because time is ticking and you don't know what all's going to happen. You're just waiting, but just keep waiting it out. Don't ask everybody's opinion on it. Don't try to get everybody's interpretation on it. Just keep doing what you need to do. And you've got some folks that whether they act like they're paying attention or not, they're paying attention. Folks from your past are wondering where you're at and what you're doing and who you do talk to now. They're wondering all that. They're wishing they could be in your business, but just keep on trucking. Because just like how it was too late for these people to do anything, it's going to be too late for anyone else to stop what the Lord wants to do in your life. So, happy, purposeful, late Resurrection Day. And I say that to the Lord and to you all as well. Happy Resurrection Day. Continue to do what you got to do. And I pray that the Lord blesses you. Glad to be back. More sermons coming soon. Have a good one, y'all. I'll pray us out of here. Heavenly Father, I thank you for another time to minister another word. I pray that those who need this sermon, that they would, I know it's been a minute, but I pray that they do tune in, that they hear this word. I know they've probably been waiting for something and wondering what's going on. But it was a great example setter of silence and waiting things out and waiting to see when something's going to be posted, waiting to see when something's going to happen. Lord, I pray that your people will continue to grow in patience, that they will continue to have patience, that they will be slow to anger, slow to wrath, but quick to listen, because listening is key in this season. Listening to what you would have to say, listening to direction, listening to what you have going on. And Lord, I pray that when the time is right, that you will cause your people to rise and to move up and to move out of the tomb and to move into whatever it is, whatever greatness you have in store for them. Lord, I thank you in advance for what you're doing in my life and in the lives of your people. I give you all the praise, glory, and honor. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.